let's explore a classic that turbocharged the racing genre like no other, F-Zero. A game that not only challenged our reflexes, but also our imaginations. Released back in 1990 for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, it dropped us into a futuristic racing world where gravity seemed like a mere suggestion, and speed limits just didn't exist. Now you might think you know everything there is to about F-Zero, but there's always more beneath the surface. Whether it was the blistering pace, the cutting-edge graphics, or the iconic tracks, F-Zero wasn't just a game. It was a revolution wrapped in a cartridge. But what made it so special? Was it just the thrill of racing, or was there more to it? Stick around as we hit the turbo on the backstory, the tech, and the legacy of this high-octane pioneer. Let's find out what really drove F-Zero to the front of the pack and why it's still a talking point among racing fans today. Jumping into the cockpit of F-Zero's creation, we're setting the scene in the very late 1980s. The video game industry was just beginning to hit its stride with the 16-bit era, sparking a tech race that would define a generation. Nintendo, already a household name thanks to the NES, was gearing up to launch its next big thing, the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Enter F-Zero, one of the flagship titles for the SNES, designed not just to showcase the console's capabilities, but to redefine what a racing game could be. The developers at Nintendo EAD, led by the visionary Kazunori Ikaguchi, wanted to create a game that felt much like the future. They weren't just making another racer, they were crafting a spectacle, a glimpse into the high-speed world of 2560. The vision was far from easy to realize. The team faced several challenges, primarily how to translate their high-speed racing concept into smooth gaming experience on the hardware that was available. They needed a solution that could handle fast, fluid movements across complex environments without the dreaded slowdown that plagued many games of that era. The solution came in the form of Mode 7 graphics, a groundbreaking technology that allowed for scaling and rotation of backgrounds, giving players a pseudo 3D experience. This graphics mode allowed background layers to be scaled and rotated, creating a pseudo 3D effect that made F-Zero's tracks feel incredibly fast and immersive. Before F-Zero, racing games were mostly flat, confined to left, right, and up-down movements. Mode 7 changed the game, allowing tracks to twist, turn, and stretch into the horizon. This not only enhanced the illusion of depth and speed, but also allowed each course to have its unique twists and elevations, making every race a visually distinct experience. But the innovation didn't stop with the visuals. F-Zero also featured a physics system that was ahead of its time. The hovercrafts in the game didn't just zip along the tracks. They interacted with the environment in ways that felt realistic and tangible. The way the crafts glided over the track, the impacts of collisions, and the gravitational pull when soaring over a jump. All of these elements were calculated to give a sense of weight and momentum that was rare in games from that era. Moreover, F-Zero utilized the SNES's sound capabilities to the fullest. The soundtrack, composed by Yumiko Kanki and Naoto Ishida, utilized the console's Sony-designed DSP to generate dynamic, driving beats that perfectly matched the game's futuristic racing theme. Each track in the game had its theme, from the energetic surge of Mute City to the moody beats of Port Town, enhancing the atmosphere and adding an extra layer of depth to the already engaging gameplay. These technological feats weren't just for show, they fundamentally shaped how players experienced the game. The speed and fluidity made possible by Mode 7, combined with the game's sound and physics, didn't just create a racing game, it created an experience, one that players could feel as much as they saw. It's this seamless integration of technology and gameplay that not only set F-Zero apart from its contemporaries, but also established a template for future innovations in racing games. From concept to cartridge, F-Zero was a bold step in the future of gaming. It set the stage not just for a new type of racing game, but also of the capabilities of the SNES, showing gamers and developers alike what was possible in this new era of video games. At its core, the gameplay of F-Zero is a masterclass in balance and precision, where every turn and turbo boost can be the difference between victory and total wipeout. The control scheme is slick and straightforward, allowing players to feel like they're really in the driver's seat of a futuristic racer. You've got your basic steering, throttle, and brake, but what really kicks it up a notch is the use of the shoulder buttons for sharp turns and drifts. These aren't just any cars, they're hovercrafts that float above the track, meaning there's no friction, just pure, smooth sliding and gliding around those corners. Then there's the boost mechanic, a game changer that lets you sacrifice some of your shield energy for a burst of speed. It's a risky move, but one that adds a layer of strategy to the races. Do you play it safe and protect your vehicle, or do you go all in for that split-second advantage? F-Zero also introduced gamers to some of the most memorable and challenging tracks in racing game history. Tracks like Big Blue and Mute City are etched in the minds of players not only for their catchy tunes, but for their intricate designs with sharp turns, jumps, and those infamous pit areas where you can replenish your energy, if you can reach them without getting knocked out of the race. The game's physics are another highlight. As mentioned earlier, the game's physics are another highlight. Each of the 4 hovercrafts handle differently, offering distinct experiences based on their weight, acceleration, and top speed. Choosing between Captain Falcon's Blue Falcon, Dr. Stewart's Golden Fox, Pico's Wild Goose, and Samurai Goro's Fire Stingray isn't just about picking a favorite color. It's about matching your racing style to the vehicle's characteristics. Each race is a high-speed ballet, with players needing to navigate not just against rival racers, but also against the course itself. The lack of guardrails on most tracks adds a constant danger of flying off the course, a punishing yet thrilling aspect that keeps players on the edge of their seats. Through these gameplay mechanics, F-Zero set itself apart as a pioneering title that wasn't afraid to accelerate full throttle into uncharted territory. The game doesn't just challenge your reflexes, it challenges your mind, making every race a tactical, high-speed puzzle. And it's this combination of speed, strategy, and precision that has kept players coming back to the tracks of F-Zero time and time again. F-Zero isn't just any racing game. It's a gateway into a future where racers from across the galaxy compete for the glory at breakneck speeds. Even with its minimalistic approach to storytelling, F-Zero managed to craft a universe filled with intrigue and personality, all starting with its roster of characters. The game introduces us to 4 iconic racers: Captain Falcon, the bounty hunter turned racer in his trademark Blue Falcon; Dr. Stewart, the skilled surgeon driving with the swift Golden Fox; Pico, the mysterious alien mercenary piloting the durable Wild Goose; and Samurai Goro, the fearless space bandit racing in the speedy Fire Stingray. Each character isn't just a different sprite. They come with their own backstories, driving styles, and motivations, enriching the game's world and adding layers to the competitive racing. But F-Zero isn't just about the racers, it's about where they're racing. Set in the year 2560, the game's universe is a rich tapestry of advanced technology and diverse cultures. The Earth has undergone significant transformations, becoming a hub of interstellar communication and commerce. Against this backdrop, the F-Zero Grand Prix emerges as a premier sporting event, drawing competitors and spectators from various planets. Each track in the game contributes to this world building, from the neon-lit streets of Mute City, the bustling heart of the Grand Prix, to the oceanic circuits of Port Town. Each location is more than just a backdrop. They're living, breathing parts of the F-Zero universe. These tracks aren't just challenging, they're immersive, pulling players into a world where high-speed racing is the pinnacle of entertainment. This attention to character and setting detail does more than just add flavor to the game. It creates a universe that players can get lost in. Even without extensive dialogue or cutscenes, F-Zero uses its racers and race locations to tell a story of competition, danger, and fame. It's this blend of minimalistic storytelling and rich world building that hooks players, inviting them not just to race, but to become a part of a larger narrative. Through its characters and settings, F-Zero crafts a world that feels expansive and alive, inviting players to explore every corner of its high-speed universe. Each race is a battle of personalities. Each track a new chapter in the grand saga of the F-Zero Grand Prix, making every playthrough a new experience in this richly imagined future. When this game slid onto the SNES scene back in 1990, it didn't just make waves, it made tsunamis in the gaming community. Upon its release, F-Zero was hailed for its fast-paced gameplay, cutting-edge graphics, and revolutionary use of the Mode 7 visuals. Critics and gamers alike were blown away by how it pushed the SNES to its limits, showcasing what the then-new console was capable of. It wasn't just a game, it was a showcase, a bold statement of the thrilling possibilities of the 16-bit gaming. But the impact of F-Zero went beyond just rave reviews and high sales figures. It set a new standard for the racing genre, influencing countless games that followed. Think about the way tracks were designed, the feel of the speed, and the integration of vehicle dynamics. These elements became a blueprint for future racers. Games like Mario Kart, Star Fox, and even later entries like Wipeout owe a tip of the hat to the trails that F-Zero blazed. Beyond its technical achievements, F-Zero's cultural footprint is massive. It spawned a series of sequels and spin-offs, each expanding on the universe and mechanics of the original. Characters like Captain Falcon took on a life of their own, becoming icons in their own right. Just like Captain Falcon's famous Falcon Punch in the Super Smash Bros. Series. That's a direct passport from his racing days, showing us just how deep the F-Zero roots go into the fabric of gaming lore. As competitive gaming took off in the late 90s and early 2000s, F-Zero found its niche. Hardcore players and speedrunners latched onto it, pushing the limits of what could be achieved on its tracks. These players weren't just racing against the game's AI, they were racing against each other, against the clock, and against the limits of the SNES itself. The competitive scene around F-Zero is characterized by its intensity and the high skill ceiling. Tournaments often feature nail-biting showdowns, with players jockeying for every possible millisecond, making split-second decisions that could lead to victory or disaster. These events are not just about winning, they're about demonstrating the mastery over one of the most demanding racing games ever created. Online platforms and gaming communities have only fueled this competitive fire. Forums, Discord servers, and social media groups dedicated to F-Zero are hubs of activity where veterans and newcomers alike share tips, discuss strategies, and organize races. Here, knowledge is passed down, rivalries are born, and the spirit of competition thrives. Well folks, we've turbo boosted through the neon glow of F-Zero's past, present, and speculated a bit about its future. From its trailblazing beginnings on the SNES to its current status chilling in the garage, F-Zero has been a wild ride. We've seen how this game broke the speed limits with the Mode 7 graphics, threw us curves with killer tracks, and had us bobbing our heads to its banging beats. It's a series that's less about the finish line and more about the rush of the race. A game that could give any modern title a run for its money in the thrill department. So whether you're a diehard fan holding out for a new title or a new gamer wondering what all the fuss is about, one thing's for sure, the legacy of F-Zero isn't just about games that were made, it's about the impact they had and the innovation they sparked. A reminder that sometimes you gotta go fast. Really fast. Like ludicrously fast. So, thanks for riding shotgun with me on this retro race through gaming history. And remember, in the world of F-Zero, the only speed limit is the one you set for yourself. Keep gaming, and may all of your laps be record breakers. If you enjoyed exploring the history and making of F-Zero, click this video here to see more from the Retro Reload. And, as always, thank you for watching.